Hello, I'm Scott Davis. Welcome to New World Birth. This is the weekly neutrino forecast for December 14th to December 20th of 2014. And on December 14th, we have the sun. We can see it right here. It's this black circle with a dot in it. It's in Sagittarius, and it's also in the 26th hexagram. And we can see on the outside of the circle this stack of lines representing the 26th hexagram, numbered from bottom to top. The 26 goes yang, 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 yin, yin, yang. And the 26 hexagram is then mapped to an opening in an energy channel called a gate. And right here is the 26th gate of the Egoist, the taming power of the great. Maximization of power of memory applied to nurturing of continuity. Located in the heart center in a tribal energy path in the ego circuit called the channel of surrender, a design of a transmitter that connects to the 44th gate of alertness, coming to meet. The success of any interaction is based on the absence of any preconditions. And I found human design to be amazingly accurate in describing the person that I use it as my primary tool when I provide readings. And we have the following activated gates on December 14th. The sun in the 26th with the earth in the 45. The north node is in the 57, the south node in the 51. Mercury is in the 11th gate with Venus in the 58th gate. Mars is in the 41st gate. Jupiter is retrograde in the 4th gate. Saturn is in the 14th gate. And then we have Uranus retrograde in the 21st gate. Neptune is in the 55 and Pluto is in the 38th gate. So obviously not every gate activation forms a channel, but this information can be very helpful if you know your own human design chart, because some of these transits will form channels with potentials in your personal body graph. And you can get your human design chart by going to jovianarchive.com, click on the button that says get your free rave chart, and then enter in your birth information. The neutrino forecast is really just a weather report. So no matter what the weather, your individual strategy and authority is the correct choice to have an authentic experience regardless of the program. As Ra Uru Hu said, whatever the weather is going to be, you have your neutrino umbrella. As long as you're experimenting with your strategy and authority, the weather is for your pleasure. And as we begin the week, we have one channel definition due to the transit field with the Earth in the 45 and Uranus in the 21. We have the channel called the money line, which is tribal. So it's about resources and support of the family, and also those people that even if they're not your blood, are part of your tribe or your extended family. So this could condition folks to try to gain resources through their willpower, often without others to collaborate with. This will bring focus on who are the haves and who are the have-nots on the material plane. This is a time period when people will believe that they can manifest what they want through their will. But it completes on December 14th when the Earth moves into the 12th gate. So those folks who have not completed their will to materialism by that date will find that their efforts will fall flat. If we're going to be looking at the sun's Ravi Ching line values daily, because 70% of the neutrinos we receive come from the sun. And as Ross said in Living with the Program, the lines of the day, when talking about these shifts, daily shifts of line values, he said, we can always take advantage of the themes of the day. Now, if your strategy and authority doesn't lead you in that direction, you can always notice how the program is affecting others in your environment. So let's get started. On the December 14th, we have the sun is exalted in the 6th line of the 26th hexagram, and this is described as authority, the natural and attainment of influence justified by the correctness of actions. Exalted, the embodiment of reason and purpose that passes the test of time. The strong ego whose influence is justified by the correctness of actions. And Ra talked about 6-line days, not to get stuck with your head in the clouds because you'll end up with something banging into your kneecaps. It's a day where there's a lack of focus on what's going on around you because folks are looking beyond their immediate environment. Like a third line day, there's certain dangers of not seeing a car coming or not seeing a bill coming. But later on the 14th, the sun moves out of the 26 and joins Mercury in the 11, and the Earth moves out of the 45 and into the 12, which then changes that definition. So the Earth in the 12th hexagram, this is the gate of caution, standstill, the quality of restraint, and the importance of mediation and inaction in confronting temptation. The shift happens at 12:11 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and all the times I'm going to be giving you are Eastern Standard Time, so you want to convert that to your local time zone. With the sun in the 11th gate of ideas, peace, a harmonic condition in the individual or society that permits assessment before renewed action. The sun's in the first line of the 11, and this is attunement, the serendipity of being in the right place at the right time. Exalted the nourishment derived from being with those who share the same goals and aspirations, the gift of finding those who will value your ideas. Detriment, the fear of anonymity and the sense that no one will value their ideas. And we're in the lower trigram, first, second, third lines are in the lower trigram, where people are more looking inward and absorbed in their own process. The theme of the first line is fear or anxiety that needs to be investigated. So it's a day to study, not to act, a day to look into things, not to jump. It's a good day to deal with things you don't know or don't understand or can't make sense of in order to gain more knowledge through investigation. Also on the 14th, Mars moves from the 41st up into the 19th. And this is Mars in the gate of wanting approach, that all things are interrelated, is apparent and manifested through the actions of approach. Mars in the first line of the 19 is interdependence, exalted, the successful approach that does not lose its individual characteristics in acceptance, the pressure of wanting without losing one's identity when accepted by others. Detriment, the tendency once an approach is accepted to get stuck in continued reflection at the expense of continued development. The pressure of acceptance, which fears eventual rejection. And Ross spoke about Mars being an extraordinary, immature energy resource that lacks refinement and is subject to outbursts. Mars represents the warrior archetype in mythology, and by following our strategy and authority, we slowly refine the energy of our design and personality Mars from immaturity to wisdom. And then on the 15th, the sun moves into the second line. So from the investigative line up into the hermit line of the 11, with the shift happening at 10:18 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. The sun in the 11-2 is described as rigor, the recognition that without vigilance and risk, peace can lead to stagnation and collapse. Exalted, the imagination applied to ensuring the understanding of achieved values, a sense that of boredom overcome through imagination. Detrimented, the resorting to factionalism to satisfy one's ego's need for action, provoking with ideas to escape boredom. And second line days, everybody's waiting for something. They're waiting to be called for their natural talents. People are stuck in their own trip, so it's not a great day to have a party because nobody really wants to come. They'd rather stay at home under the hermit influence. Also on the 15th, Mercury moves out of the 11, leaving the sun, and into the 10th gate, which brings us a definition of the perfected form here. Um, but let's first talk about Mercury. Mercury in mythology is the messenger of the gods. So this is about communication, expansion of human consciousness through communication, not just as words, but also as music, according to Ra. And what needs to be communicated in life? Well, we communicate the message of our design, Mercury, through the medium of our personality, Mercury. And what might be communicated, what might we hear people talking about when Mercury is in the 10th gate? Survival through behavior. This is the gate of the behavior of the self-treading, the underlying code of behavior which ensures a successful interaction despite circumstances. Mercury in the first line of the 10 is modesty, an innate sense to know and accept one's place, exalted a valued sense of purpose no matter what the position, the ability to know one's place and how to act despite circumstances. Detrimented the affliction of oversensitivity and hurt feelings, oversensitivity to external conditionings of behavior. And with Mercury in the 10th gate and the North Node in the 57th gate, we have the channel of the perfected form until the 19th. And this is the design of survival where behavior becomes art. With a defined splenic center, this brings intuition and well-being. Ra did warn that non-splenic people may let go of something that is good for them during a transit that defines the splenic center. The influence of this transit may be that folks need to perfect their form, however they define that, whether it's their bodies, their work, their home, their art, whatever form means to them. And this brings a love for art, for art that is created simply for the enjoyment of the artist. Folks may find that they have more of an ability to think on their feet under this influence. And being that it's individual circuitry, it brings melancholy that's best used for creative experiences. And Ra used to say that when we had a definition like this, that the forecast is for cloudy skies. You know, that we're going to feel blue, but that melancholy feeling is the muse to be applied into some type of creativity. And on the 16th, the sun then moves into the third line. So out of the hermit line into the martyr line of the 11 at 8:25 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. The sun in the 11:3 is the realist, the acknowledgement that peace is transitory, exalted the internal renewal to maintain strength and alertness, the realization that ideas come and go, detrimented the tendency to appreciate harmony to the point of delusion, the belief that beauty is eternal, fiddling while Rome burns, a pleasure in ideas that have no real application. Third line days, the lines of the martyr. We're talking about trial and error, bonds made and broken, a system of discovery by figuring out what doesn't work. So it's a day to be careful on the roads. Be careful of swinging doors, swinging elbows because things bump into you. You might have bonds made and broken under the third line influence. It's a good material day. It's a good day for business and working on the material plane. But you also have to be careful because things can go wrong. And those things that go wrong could lead to discovery. On the 17th, the sun then moves up into the fourth line, the opportunist line of the 11. The shift happening at 6:31 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, where the sun is detrimented and described as the teacher, the ability to express the essential nature of peace. Detrimented the guru, whose most valued wisdom is intentionally limited to a few ideas that can only be investigated by a few. Fourth line days change from an inward perspective that we have with the lower trigram to a more looking outward with the upper trigram, personal process, transpersonal process. It's it's a day of looking more outward. So themes of the fourth line are friendship, companionship, networking. Fourth line days are great for social interaction. People are more open to networking, to being friendly and social. And then on the 18th, the sun then moves into the fifth line of the 11, and this shift happens at 4:37 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. The sun in the 11:5 is described as the philanthropist, the motiveless nurturing of the disenfranchised to ensure harmony, uh, philosophic and humanitarian ideas, detrimenting the withdrawal from direct contact, where giving is a form of defense, giving away ideas out of a sense of insecurity. The fifth line day is a heretical. It's a day of suspicion, but also universalization, where something can leak out and spread rapidly like a virus, whether it's a YouTube video where there's suddenly millions of viewings or a Facebook post that goes viral. There's a great deal of suspicion and paranoia on a fifth line day, which impacts the nature of relationships. And projection is particularly what we're dealing with, where people project and they go, that person would be great at it. They could do it. And then if the person doesn't do it, can't do it, for whatever reason it doesn't get done, then the projection turns negative, and the punishment comes, where the heretic gets burned at the stake. And seduction is also a theme of a fifth line day. Also on the 18th, Venus moves from the 58th gate to join Pluto in the 38th. And in human design, Venus is very powerful and deeply misunderstood, according to Ra. It brings morality, natural law in which we deal with the other, and the consequences of the world around us, and what disturbs you on a moral level. Your design and personality, Venus, is tell us about the moral dilemma that you're going to work with in your life, and that if you don't act with moral clarity, Venus can be unkind in its retribution. Venus is in the 38th gate of the fighter. Opposition, the ability to preserve individual integrity through opposition to detrimental forces. Venus is in the first line of the 38, which is qualification, tempering opposition based on circumstances, exalted the psychic attunement that guarantees proper action, the psychic gift of knowing when and how to fight, detrimenting the tendency to oppose as a general rule, and the drive to fight as a general rule. And then on the 19th, the sun then moves into the sixth line of the 11th hexagram at 2:43 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. The sun in the 11.6 is adaptability, the inner balance to accept transition, exalted the innate awareness that all forms are transitory, the realization that ideas lead to change and are changeable, detrimented adaptability in its most negative manifestation. The speculator who profits at the expense of others in times of peace or war. The realization of what idea is of value in any situation. And Ra talked about 6 line days again. We're on the roof of the hexagram. You know, if you think about sitting on the roof of the house, we're looking beyond the house we're looking at other things in the neighborhood. And he talked about don't get stuck with your head in the clouds, because you'll have something bump into your kneecaps, that we're not quite as aware of what's going on in our immediate environment. Also on the 19th, Mercury moves from the 10 to the 58. And of course, with this movement, the perfected form goes away just for a short time here. And again, Mercury is about communication. And what might we communicate when Mercury's in the 58? Well, maybe a taste for vitality or a better life. This is the gate of aliveness, joyous. Stimulation that is the key to joy. And Mercury in the 58, in the first line, is the love of life, exalted. The very stimulation of the world is the basis of an aesthetic appreciation of beauty and wonder. Alone or shared with others, this profound inner realization is the key for a joyous harmony with the process of being, the energy which fuels the love of life. Detriment, a cyclical energy which intermittently fuels the love of life. And then on the 20th, the sun moves from the 11 to the 10, bringing back the perfected form. And the earth also moves from the 12 to the 15. And of course, the earth in the 15th gate, this is the gate of extremes, modesty, the quality of behavior which expresses the proper balance between extremes. And this shift happens at 12:49 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, so just 49 minutes after midnight, with the sun in the 10th gate of behavior, treading the underlying code of behavior, which ensures successful interaction despite circumstances. The sun's exalted in the first line of the 10th gate. Again, this is modesty, the innate sense to know and accept one's place. Exalted, a valued sense of purpose no matter what the position, the ability to know one's place and how to act despite circumstances. And again, we're now in a new hexagram, so first, second, third lines are more inward in the lower trigram, more personal in what they're looking at. So this is much more of an inward process than an outward process. And again, first line, the investigative line is about a fear or anxiety that needs to be investigated, something that needs to be researched and looked into. And then later on the 20th, the sun then moves into the hermit line, the second line of the 10th hexagram. The shift happening in 10:54 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, so an hour and 6 minutes before midnight on the 20th Eastern Standard Time, with the sun in the 10:2 is described as the hermit, the successful sidestepping of behavioral requirements through isolation. Exalted, where mental functions enrich aloneness, independent behavior through isolation. Detrimented, the angry exile, isolation to preserve independent behavior in the face of conditioning. Second line days, again, people are waiting for things. They're waiting to be called. They're really wanting to remain more focused on their own process. And then, of course, we got the sun in the 10th gate, and the north node in the 57, bringing the perfected form back. So again, defines splenic center, brings intuition and well-being. Non-splenic folks should watch out for releasing something that is good for them when they have this definition. And this is really going to be about folks needing to perfect whatever is they define their form as, whether it's their work, their home, their art, their bodies, whichever. And again, bringing back individual circuitry, sense of melancholy that's best used for any type of creative activity. And so this week we've continued to move through the 9th gate, the 5th gate, the 26th gate, and the 11th gate, which are all associated with the Prometheus God's head. We're just entering the 5th, so next week I'm just entering the 10th. So next week I will be discussing the Vishnu God's head. But if you're interested in the Prometheus God's head, that was covered in the November 23rd offering. So no matter what energies are conditioning you during the week, remember this is an experience about being a passenger riding in a vehicle driven by the magnetic monopole. So enjoy the scenery. Let the vehicle take you where you need to go through using your strategy and authority. Every day we have is a blessing, no matter what dramas beckon to distract us. We're all here just giving the performance of a lifetime on this world stage. Just take some time to observe the play as well as act your part, observe your movie as well as acting your part in your movie by remembering you're a spiritual being that's having a human experience. Thank you for checking out New World Birth. The next segment of the Neutrino Forecast will be available on December 21st of 2014. It'll be for that. It should be available on the 20th, when we'll continue to look at the influence of the heavenly bodies as they transit the hexagrams of the I Ching and the constellations of the stars. So you can check us out on Facebook or Blogger or YouTube, and I encourage you to share this information as videos or as text as widely as you choose. And as always, I invite you to contact me at newworldbirth@yahoo.com if you have any questions or you wish to schedule a reading. And if you've been thinking about getting a reading, please contact me. I'd love to provide you a reading during these uncertain times. You'll need to either be able to call me in Maine in the USA, or we can connect with Skype to receive your reading. We're also accepting donations to keep these reports freely available. And as always, I am blessed that you've taken the time to connect with my passion for all these ancient mysteries and their application to our journey during this incarnation. The light in me honors the light in you. Namaste, in Lakesh, and as Ra would say, love yourself. And again, thank you so much for taking the time to be here today. And we look forward to connecting with you in a future video or in a reading or in the radio show, which I believe will be coming back on air in January. And I'll give you more information about that as I find out when we'll be back on the Earth Needs Rebels on freethinkingvoice.org. Anyway, all my best to everybody, and catch you next time.